let's go ahead and talk about time management. You know, I thought about something recently. I have this habit when it comes to traveling. I don't know if you're like this. When I travel, inevitably, whatever suitcase that I choose, whether I choose a carry-on or a giant one or somewhere in between, I always pack it full. Do you do that? I am shoving and cramming things in there. I'm trying to squeeze another hairbrush, another bobby pin, another pair of shoes, because I might change my mind about the shoes that I packed when I get there. Y'all, inevitably, I am opening the expanders, the zippers. I'm lugging it through the airport, putting it on the scale, hoping that they don't notice that, of course, it's overweight because I have put too much stuff in there. It is heavy. It is a pain. It doesn't fit in the overhead compartment. It just creates one problem after another. And then whenever I get to my destination, aside from having to lug this thing around, of course, I don't have any room in the thing to buy anything. If I go somewhere cute like Charleston, they have fun shops. Maybe I want to get something new. Can't, because I don't have anywhere to pack it. I have run into this problem on almost every single trip I take. And of course, when I get there, I don't use half of the things that I packed, but just for some reason, I feel the need to cram way more into this suitcase than the suitcase can actually hold. We do that with our time, don't we? We have a set amount of time. Everybody knows what it is. You know what it is. I know. It doesn't change, y'all. It's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's the exact same every single day. And still, mysteriously, every day we're like, I couldn't fit all this in. I thought I could. I thought for sure I could cram another pair of shoes into this day, and I can't, and I don't know why. And we're stressed, and we're exhausted, and we're frustrated, and it just makes life hard. And we constantly think that we just need more time. I just need more time. I need to find some time, buy some time. Maybe the time fairy will appear and give me more time. I just need a bigger suitcase. But you know what? That's actually not the problem. The problem is not the amount of time that we have. The problem is how we use it. The problem is not the amount of time that we have. We have the same amount of time every single day, and we can't get a minute more than anyone else on the streets. We all have the exact same amount of hours in a day, so we can't get more time. But what we can do is change how we use the time that we have. Now, I want to tell you my top 3, and I think most people's top 3, time wasters, time sucks, things that steal your time. I'm going to tell you the 3 main categories for me where I find that I lose the most time, okay? Number 1, even as an Enneagram 8, I'm guilty of this. People pleasing. People pleasing. We don't want to ruffle feathers. We don't want to make waves. We don't want to disappoint people. We want to make people happy. We want to say yes when they invite us. So people pleasing leads us to spend our time on things that are not important to us. So we say yes to the potluck. We say yes to the small group. We say yes to the volunteer dinner. We say yes to that party. We say yes to lots and lots of good things. And that's important because they're good things. They're good things. They might be church things, ministry things, social things, marriage things. We just say yes to all these things, but because they're good, we think, oh my gosh, we've got to do them. But it's too many things. We're saying yes in all of these places, and we don't have enough time. Pleasing people, saying yes when we want to say no, leads us to use our time in ways that are not right for us, that are not right for what we want for our life, that are not what's important to us. So I think people pleasing is a really, really big category of where we lose our time or waste our time. The second category is similar to the first, but it's a little bit different. The second category is being the hero. Now, this is a little bit different because when you're people pleasing, you're more focused on how are they going to perceive me? How are they going to react? I need to say yes because I don't want to let them down. I've got to say yes. I've got to show up. I've got to show up. Being the hero is a little different because it's more about us. We feel this need to save the day. We feel this need to be the hero, to be Mother Teresa, to save the world, to show up. If there's a gap, we bridge it. If there's a problem, we solve it. If there's a need, we fill it. We show up and again and again and again because we have this need to be needed. Now, we wouldn't say that We wouldn't even acknowledge that necessarily. We might say, oh no, I just want to help them out. Oh, I just want to fix that problem. But the core root of what's going on is being needed makes us feel good about ourselves. Being needed makes us feel important. Being needed fills some void in us. I heard a friend one time say, there's a very big difference in doing something to be loving and doing it to be loved. And I think if we're honest, a lot of our efforts to please people and show up and fill the gaps and be the hero is really an effort to be loved, an effort to be okay, an effort to get affirmation, an effort to get praise and compliments and applause, an effort to go, oh my gosh, can you believe she did that? Did you see how she threw that party? Did you see how she cleaned that whole house? Did you see how she did that thing? Like, oh, this whole thing. We do it because it fills a void in us. Being the hero is a very tempting way to lose your time because you want to show up for everyone else, but it's really pointing a light to something that's going on in you. So one of the first categories is people pleasing. The second is being the hero. The third would just be checking out. Checking out on TV, social media. And I don't hate TV. I don't hate Netflix. I don't hate social media. I don't hate these things. But let me just give you some really interesting statistics. Do you know that the average American checks their phone over 100 times a day? The average American watches between 3 and 5 hours of TV per day. The average American spends around 2.5 hours on social media per day. Now, I don't think that you would say that the most important thing in your life is TV or Instagram. I certainly wouldn't say that. It's not intentional that we check out and look at our phones, but we're tired at the end of the day. We just want to sit back, turn on a good show, scroll through Facebook, just check out. But when we check out, we're losing those hours. We're spending those hours on things that are not important to us. And then we wake up every day and say, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to hang out with my kids. I don't have enough time to work out. I don't have enough time to read my Bible. I don't have enough time to go on a date with my spouse. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. Oh, but I know what everybody's doing on Facebook. Or I know who got the last rose on The Bachelor. Let me tell you something. If you know about every single person accepting a rose on The Bachelorette, but you don't know about the own man living in your own house, you don't have a time problem. You got a priority problem. You've got a priority problem. See, it's not the time issue that we have. It's knowing what to do with it. It's understanding what is most important in our life. What actually should get those hours, our finite hours in our one life on this earth. Understanding what is most important for us and then spending our time on them. That's it. That, to me, is success in time management. That is the end goal. If you can spend your life and your time on what's important to you, that's it. Well done. You don't have to have apps and schedules and to-do lists and efficient, processes. You just need to spend your one life on what you care about. That sounds so simple, but it's so hard to do. Because of these time traps of people pleasing and being the hero and checking out and wasting time with distractions, what happens is we spend all of our time over here when what we actually care about is over here. So we have this gap between what we care about and what we actually spend our life on. Of course we're stressed. Of course we're exhausted. Of course we're frustrated and anxious because there's an inconsistency in our life between what we care about and what our life really reflects. If you care about working out, your schedule should reflect it. If you care about your marriage, your schedule should reflect it. If you care about time with your kids, your schedule should reflect it. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. You have a finite amount of hours in a day, in a week. You have a certain size suitcase. Only so many things will fit. Our job is to figure out what fits. Our job is to figure out what makes the cut. Our job is to figure out what is most important that makes it in our life. I've used the example of my house being clean before, but I think this is a great example because I could clean all the rooms in my house. I could do that. I could work really hard every day to go behind my 3 small children and just clean up all their messes all the time in all the rooms. Now, I've chosen not to. I've chosen to focus on the kitchen, the living room, and my bedroom, and I want those rooms to be clean, and I'm fine if the other rooms are not, the bonus room is not, the boys' rooms are not. I've chosen not to, but I could. I could clean all the rooms. I could say that's most important to me. And then I would never get to play with my kids. I would never see them. We wouldn't play basketball in the driveway every night after work. We wouldn't play on the swing. We wouldn't go for walks around the neighborhood. We wouldn't do any of those things that we actually right now do. But the house would be clean. The house would be clean. So you know what? That's not important to me. I can intentionally look at the amount of time I have between 5 o'clock after work and 7:30 or 8 when my kids go to bed, and I go, I've got 3 hours. You know how I'm going to spend it? Not cleaning the bonus room. I'm going to spend it playing with my kids in the driveway, playing basketball, on a walk around the neighborhood. So I can walk in the bonus room with pride and confidence and power and control and say, I choose this messy room because I said no to this, I got to say yes to this. I got to say yes to this good time. I got to say yes to being present with my kids. I got to say yes to these things that are important to me. Now, I don't know what that is for you. I don't know what the priority looks like for you. I don't know what the responsibilities look like for you. But what I do know is you've got to choose. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. My challenge for you is to look at your life through the lens of priorities. Look at your time through the lens of priorities. It's not about doing everything for an equal amount of time. Life balance is about doing the right things at the right time. What are your priorities this week? What are your priorities today? What are your priorities in this season? And guess what? You have permission for those to change next week, tomorrow, in the next season, where those priorities and your focus and your time changes to reflect what's important to you then. I guarantee you, what's important to you right now is different than what was important to you 3 months ago. And what was important to you 3 months ago was very different than what it was in January when we all started this crazy year. Priorities can change. Seasons change. Life changes. What matters is that you spend your one life on what's most important to you.